and good afternoon, everyone. We are back kicking off your Rando Race Friday here on SpeedGaming 2. I am Cool Papa Bell 2282, commentating this race between Illus and Shkoople for the Group AE tiebreaker match. Alongside me is Roland Tankier. How are you doing today?
I am doing fine, and I'm excited to see a race in this tournament that is hopefully a very exciting one. We have Illus looking to book that spot in the brackets. Meanwhile, shkoople trying to stay alive and having a chance at the game 3 to get that spot in the brackets. Illus has won the first matchup between those two as they faced off in the first race of the groups already. Then Illus went on to lose to Gamechu, who already went through to the brackets, so that's how we got to this rematch between Illus and shkoople. But yeah, we have a standard hard item pool as always in this tournament, so what do you hope for our starting weapon today?
Man, I'm trying to think what I haven't seen too much of. Let's go Blue Cane. That's always fun.
It is an interesting one, and yeah, having to manage your magic and your farming for bombs, which you do want to have, so we can check back with escape, is always interesting. But from personal experience, having no bombs for 3 of my last 4 tournament races myself, I'd rather see a bomb start today, so we have those guaranteed bombs.
Yeah, it is always unfortunate when there's a big separation at the beginning of the race just because one person got bomb drops and the other one didn't, or something like that. So bomb start certainly prevents that from happening.
And looks like we are off. See what our first chest does hold on. Just a heart piece. So nothing to really be happy about. And a quick map check. 3 crystals, 1 red in desert, and 2 normals, eastern and Hera. Means we have 3 Dark World pendants. That's always some potential for very interesting seeds. Or maybe really fast ones. We do not know yet.
Alright, and a sword to start. That should make escape pretty easy. We'll get to see some NMG strats.
Does also make farming for bombs much easier as we find out that we have the magic prize pack on the guards, so unfortunately no bombs to find on those, but we have a few chests left where we can find bombs or loot, which would also help, or we can hope for the reds to have a prize pack that does contain bombs somewhere.
And yeah, like you said, those pendants in the ice world, or in the dark world, could definitely make things interesting. You can wind up with things like potential fire rodless seed if Skullwoods and Turtle Rock are both pendants, potentially caneless with Meyer and TR, that sort of thing.
Flipperless seeds. That's really some variety that can happen and how those pan out. Of course, the green pendant locking the item behind Sahasrara, being on a Dark World dungeon, maybe even one of the longer ones, does make the decision to, if you, or going in there or even clearing it, always kind of interesting at what point you do go for it or not.
Yeah, also raises the possibility of my personal nemesis in this game, Pendant Thieves Town.
Yeah. That's often something most runners are not happy to see, because you really do not want to go into the back of Thieves Town if it's abandoned. Both runners have reached the ball in chain guard. Shkoople choosing the mixed strat of throwing one pot and 4 splashes. Illus just going for 5 sword splashes. And no bombs so far. 20 rupees are out of Zelda Cell. We did have the small key already, so we have one more chance at bombs from a chest. Otherwise, we have to hope that the reds are kind to us today. Or we have to leave those 3 chests behind.
Yeah, at the very least, we can farm as many rats as we feel like with that sword.
So even if we get the prize pack with the single bomb on the 6th position, we do have a good weapon to farm the abundance of rats that there are. So if you do want to bomb, if it's there, you can certainly get it. Although I have seen drop luck being really, really terrible to some runners already, so who knows, maybe even with the sword you couldn't get there.
So Shkoople just a couple of seconds ahead, working their way through this escape sequence. I always wonder if the rat problem is a permanent thing in Hyrule Castle, or if this is a sign that Aghanim is just letting the castle get run down.
Interesting question, as we do not see rats elsewhere. Except from that bombable hut in Kakariko. No bombs today, as we find flippers. Another one of those items that you maybe not as happy to find so early as others. Because now Zora is logic, but our primary farm idea, or the idea to get a decent amount of rupees, has now been somewhat taken away. Without a glove, farming those rupees can be painful.
And looks like Shkoople didn't even try to farm those rats, just went ahead straight past, but we saw Illus find the arrow pack on them, so no bombs were available in Escape today.
Shkoople actually managed to get a drop in the room immediately after the throne, so already knew from the first rats available, even before the snakes, that there was the arrow prize pack, so had no reason to farm further. We get at least an option to check the stun prize with the boomerang. One more chance at getting bombs before Kakariko. This will do so desire. Nope. Just the money, and not really the helpful one.
Single rupee stun prize. Is this even randomized?
Yeah, also triple tier 2 certainly, but still single rupees. Not what you're hoping for. And are those single rupees on the bushcrafts also?
Couldn't tell if that was green or blue, but not helpful.
Still couldn't really tell.
Yeah, so Shkoople is going to save and quit out of the Lost Woods there. Same for Illus, so I think they're going to take the south route over to Kakariko and farm some bombs out of these 50-50 bushes south of the Grove.
I definitely do not blame them. They did not get any money. They did not get any bombs. So getting those 50-50 pushes to work, grabbing those guaranteed bombs, more or less. But you can at least check Kakariko. Do not have to leave much behind. We would still need 6 or 7 more rupees for our runners, so that they can check the bottle vendor as well, as we can find 50 rupees on the first trip in Kakariko, or we would have to take an extra trip into the well for Lion's hideout for that to make it happen. But finding 6 rupees shouldn't be too much to ask for, right?
That's what you'd think, yes.
We won't get that library item, the seed. No need to return for the red boomerang if we have the blue already.
And both of our runners heading into CAC with just 2 bombs. So probably will be hoping to find those 10 bombs right there. Doesn't hurt.
So, how many more bombs are we going to find in Kakariko now?
At least 9. Has to be.
There's our money. We will get to see the well, so that we can have enough rupees for the bottle vendor after it, and 5 additional checks on top. Oh, there go our money problems. Why? Although it's still not enough for Zora.
Ooh, there's the hammer.
That's a very nice item.
I was about to say, just from a pathing perspective, it is sort of nice to be able to save and quit out of the back of Blind's hut and not have to walk back upstairs. We find a fire rod as well on the bottle merchant.
It started out somewhat stingy, but now it's giving us some stuff to work with. And no, even Zora is no problem anymore, so I kinda expect our runners to head to the South Shore next and then do flipper checks right after. Yes, those are the most item-dense location, and you do not have really much better options. So,
Yeah, the only other choice really is going to Saha's closet, but that's not particularly tempting at this point. When you could find a bow soon and then just go straight into Eastern, I think South Shore is a pretty obvious play here.
Illus and shkoople both deciding to start in Mini Moldon Cave. Illus likes to route this all the way over to Egina, although I expect in this seat with the flippers and Zora money, he will go to Ice Rock Cave and do the flipper checks and then do the dam with Egina after it, or in similar fashions.
Yeah, we get a lamp here in Mini Moldorm Cave. I've seen some people route this as Mini Moldorm Cave, Dam, Agina, and then skip Ice Rod Cave, which I sort of like, because of course Agina is just as likely to have something as Ice Rod Cave. But of course with flipper checks, they're going to want to go east after this.
Jumping straight into water. Some bombs on Lake Hylia Island. You don't have to worry about those. And we will get the hobo check from Illus first. shkoople swimming over to Ice Rod Cave.
Shkoople down to just half a heart dealing with those crabs. Of course, do 2 hearts of damage on green mail.
And that's a bottle with a B. So one more check in the Kakariko open now. Something we do not really want to return to soon, if we can avoid it. is somewhat inefficient. But we do need to find something very soon. Or
Yeah.
we will have to think about that eastern area.
Yeah, we are sort of starting to run low on checks. We've got Waterfall Cave and the Zora area. And then, yeah, it's looking like Eastern next to find something to get us Dark World access. We do have a sword and a lamp. So we are either a second sword or a cape away from being able to get into Agate Tower. Although runners are definitely going to want to find Moon Pearl if at all possible before making that climb.
Ooh. That's a nice waterfall ferry. Giving us a Moon Pearl and some free blue goo.
Alright, the commentator's blessing is getting real today, so I'm just going to say out loud, wouldn't it be great if they found the glove on Zora and then they would have Dark World access? Let's just see what happens.
Nope. Just some very expensive bombs.
Well, I was trying to use my power for good, but didn't work, so Illus gonna save and quit and probably walk over to Saha's closet now. Oh no, we've still got the dam over to Agina for him, so actually for both runners, right? No one has seen the dam yet.
Playing it safe here, not leaving anything behind. Of course, it's just 3 items, the same amount as over in Saha's closet, which are faster to get all 3, but you do not want to risk leaving behind anything in the dam, as it's not unusual for runners to check that early. You never know if your opponent also does that mini-Molon cave start with South Shore. Nope, just the hearts here. So it's going all the way over to Agina. And yeah, of course, we should not forget about Back of Escape. There are still 3 chests in there. I'm not sure. I think we didn't see the map. So we have 2 items left there. But still, that's 2 items that we can still get and are supposed to have for logic.
Yeah, but that's such a long check, and also it just makes so much sense to save that for last, so that if it does turn into an Aga Seed, then you can just take a Death Warp from the back of Escape and be right there at the castle, so it's pretty much always the last location when you have to go back to it.
Telling Agina a bit about the state of mind regarding the seed so far. Then also just finding those 10 arrows, not enough importance, and yep, following Illus all the way over to Saha. Let's see what we get in here. Ooh.
Absolutely nothing. Just stealing Saha's life savings and then running away.
So no real choice but to head over to Eastern. And now all those horror scenarios can start turning up in your mind. Just imagine that bow lying all there, lonely in back of escape, locking our glove on the arm of knights.
Oh, that would be wretched. I think this is also where runners are going to be thinking about the decision of do they go back for that sick kid check? Oh, well, that solves that problem because there is our glove and our Dark World access.
Illus deciding to at least continue on to for one more chest. It will be interesting to see if shkoople also continues or maybe takes a chance and say, nope, that's Dark World access, I'm out of here, I'm going to find my bow before I'm doing anything else here. And looks like that's what's happening.
I think I like this play from Illus a little bit better, just getting out that chest on the right side out of the way, and particularly since it was a second item, bailing after that, I think is a pretty solid move.
I would tend to agree. So, back of escape, of course, had our bombs and the money. What would have liked to get before Kakariko, but nope. Of course we didn't.
All right, so it looks like shkoople is going to head into the Dark World at the Village of Outcasts, whereas Illus is going to go for Hype Cave first.
Just allow Illus to have a map check before going to the village to decide whether to dip Skullwoods or Thief Town, which are both pendants, but crystals, but we have flipper dungeons pendants. Bleh. Should move on my tongue.
I mean, we make the joke about Ice Rod all the time, but since we got flippers right away, clearly they weren't actually required for any dungeons.
Hype Cave turned out to not have really much we would have liked to have. Mushroom can be nice, but it's not something that immediately does help us. Second red crystal on Palace of Darkness. And it is certainly chicken pyramids, and then maybe taking that all the way to Catfish. With the Zora checks already done, no real reason to save that up until we find the mirror. We cannot combine that with anything. And I can't really imagine Illus going to pot without a bow.
Yeah, this is a safe play from Illus just to make sure that there's nothing at one of these out-of-the-way checks that's going to come back and bite him later. But shkoople will get an advantage at getting these two crystals in the village area, since we can do clear Skullwoods and Thieves Town right now.
7 hearts, or in shkoople's position, 6 hearts. Green Mail, Fighter Sword Moth, not the best setup. But with the hammer we do have a trusty weapon, and we can use that fire rod. Get a few shots in. So let's see if shkoople can manage the moth today.
So nothing on Catfish, and now it looks like Illus will follow shkoople over to the Village of Outcasts area, as shkoople is headed through the back of Skull Woods to this interesting moth fight. Taking a little bit of damage there already, so...
So I didn't feel paid fully attention. Did shkoople also get that blue goo from the waterfall fairy? That would help very much in this fight, having that safety.
Yeah, I didn't notice either. Okay, chat is saying that he did, so that's good.
And Illus turning in that bottle first and receives a Master Sword from the Thicket. That's something that will help in this fight. So shkoople maybe has forgotten about that check or decided to do it maybe later, and then would be getting punished for that decision a little bit here. Because we see now Fighter Sword Moth. Not a nice fight. Just decide to drink that blue goo. Now has full magic bar. Of course, the moth dies immediately after. Well, to reveal another sword. Okay.
All right, there's our tempered sword concerns out of the way. Illus will be on tempered very soon, and shkoople probably not too far after. But yeah, Illus will definitely pick up time on this moth fight with that Master Sword. It looked like shkoople didn't really make use of the hammer strats either, which you can get in 1 or 2 hits early on, and that will definitely speed up that fight if you can get some of that damage in right away with the hammer. It does become tougher later on as the spikes start flying around, of course.
That hammer hitbox is really hard to work with, so if you're not comfortable with it or are confident in your fighter sword abilities, then probably better to just not use the hammer. That's the second item out of Skull Woods, and another heart container. So we can move on to go to the village. Starting with the heart piece and sea house.
Pretty quick fight from Illus there, using the Master Sword spins, which do tempered sword damage. Ooh, and there's our first bow in the brewery, so...
Yep. Also with Ether in the chest game, we are getting some nice stuff now. Pot and Easter now fully clearable. That's 6 more items for Illus, 7 for shkoople to get. You know, one of those is at 20 rupees. But yeah, I'd expect our runners to finish their trip here through the village and then probably head over there pretty soon.
Yeah, seems like pretty clear routes for both of our runners, unless they find something else really interesting. Shkoople is probably going to just finish off the Dark World loop, go to Hype Cave, and then to Pod from there. Illus will have the option of saving and quitting out of Village of Outcasts, and will probably walk to Eastern first and then do Palace of Darkness after that. Not quite as efficient as using the mirror to go from Pod to Eastern, but still will only have to walk back to that area one more time, which shkoople will have a second one unless we can find the mirror somewhere soon.
Front of these are not really delivering much so far. So this is now heading over to the village, being done with Skullwoods completely. Does decide to do a quick bomb ledge check first to reveal the harpies. So no need to worry about this at all if we do find the cape at some point. Now heading over to the maiden cell.
But so far, nothing too exciting inside Thieves Town itself.
That key only means we will to check the big chest. Ooh! Now that's an item.
Definitely always good to be going faster. I wonder when our runners will route these in. It probably works a little bit better for Illus, although I guess with just Bonk Rocks without King's Tomb available, I don't know if Illus will want to do that right now or head straight over to Eastern and Pod.
But just Bonk Rocks, I'd imagine it's more heading over straight to Eastern and Pod. As there's really just the mirror and Bonk Rocks that would make that play more attractive. But getting mids would enable you to do King's Tomb without the mirror, so we will see.
And shkoople is done in the Village of Outcasts area. We're going to first look at Digging Game and Stumpy.
Thinking about it, maybe Illus does take the chance to check Bonk Rocks and then head up the mountain first. We cannot do much up there, but we can always get that save and quit point up on the mountain. And while we will need to find the flute later on, maybe it's up on the mountain. So we would then need to walk up there anyway and Who knows? If there's a vanilla mirror hiding out on the... Okay, I guess shkoople won't find out that the Secret has a sword today, at least until we tell them so. That's our tempered sword on Stumpy. Or at least...
Oh, go ahead.
It's our fourth sword, shkoople's tempered sword, and would have been Illus' gold sword if we were to play a normal item pool.
And another point in favor of the Death Mountain play is that would let Illus check out the Lumberjack item, which would be fully in logic now, sort of on his way up, which neither of our runners has seen. And it feels like Illus has been playing a little bit safe and making sure that out-of-the-way checks like Catfish weren't going to get him in trouble, so he might want that Lumberjack information just to check that off the list.
That is a good point. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that happening. We will see. shkoople chicken pyramid first. I wonder if they decide to do Catfish after this. No. Can leave Catfish just a little bit isolated, but there's still the option of routing it in with the North Dark World route if we do find a mirror in the pot, which shkoople is certainly hoping for right now. Would make this route and work out very well so far.
So easy blind fight there on Illus's side as well. And looks like he will clear up these couple of things in the South Dark World also.
And has Digging Game and Stumpy left, which are not really are not really easy to get any faster than they actually currently are. So get them out of the way. Don't leave something important behind. And then decide from there. What has been bowlocked? We did find the big key in the first chest, so no choice but to go to the right side first. Get those two chests out of the way, and I wonder if we see shkoople then head straight to Helmer first and do the back of pot after.
Ooh. I was just about to say, yeah, that's a very common play and really helps with the routing when you don't have mirror here in pod, but then we'll just find that mirror.
And that, of course, with just one small key would be not a great idea to spend that on the boss door, because then you have again no small key for the front door, so you would at least need to grab one more small key. And shkoople saying, okay, with this routing, just head to the back first, get that out of the way. And Illus does decide to start over in Eastern.
Yeah, it's understandable. Then he's able to clear out both of these dungeons in essentially one trip, guaranteed, regardless of whether the mirror is around or not. So
maybe hedging his bets, because with Swarm Pendant, the mirror could potentially just be in GT and then you never have it. And then doing it this way is certainly more efficient. Of course, we know mirror is available, so a little bit unfortunate for this here.
This is unfortunate routing from shkoople. He used his last key to get into the dark maze here. He really wanted to hammer yump this, because now when he mirrors back to the front of the dungeon, he's going to have to go through the right side again. Ooh, but we do find mitts in the dark maze.
Yep, that's same reason why I mentioned going to the boss right then and there would not have been a great idea. And shkoople just now realizing it. But hey, mitts and pot, mirror and pot. This is starting to come together.
This is not making the seed any less linear, though, because that's just screaming out to go full clear Death Mountain after this.
Yeah, but it also does open up a possibility not many runners are really happy to think about, but that hookshot can become somewhat optional for some runners. Let's see. So, yeah. How do you decide to go about all of this?
Yeah, because for completing our crystal dungeons, we are down to just flute and potentially the Myra medallion if it's bombos, right? It's the only thing we really need for that. But yeah, that hook shot to get across the Moldorm gap is going to be required unless we want to do some hovering or Moldorm bouncing today.
We still need the Cane of Samaria to finish Maya. But
yes.
That's 2 items and maybe a medallion if we do not count the hookshot. So it is not that much, and Death Mountain has about 20 items, and that's before we head into Turtle Rock, which we can't really count out, because if the cane is just up on the mountain, that would be an option as well. So yeah, doing pot, doing Eastern, then probably doing the mountain, and see what we are going to find.
shkoople has been a little bit reckless with the hearts here in Palace of Darkness, taking some damage before even getting to the basement. Basement much easier with the lamp, of course, so I don't expect him to have too much trouble. But Helmasaur is not the easiest boss on low health and green mail.
I think shkoople still has that blue potion, so it's not really that bad. But yeah, that Helma fight certainly can make some trouble, and Helma does 2 hearts of damage, all hits, so... Yeah, even getting that... Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think shkoople used the blue in the moth fight to get more fire rod shots.
Oh, true. Okay, so this is a 2-hit KO fight then. Setting up spin speed to slightly extend that hammer hitbox, making those swordless hammer hits much easier. And with the tempered sword, second phase, not too much of a problem. 4 slashes do take care of that.
So shkoople finished with Palace of Darkness now. It, did provide progression, as it so often does with the mirror and mitts, and we'll be able to just go finish off Eastern Palace fairly quickly.
And it is deciding to mirror straight after the right side to use that small key found there to open up the front door, not to not have go through the right side multiple times. Save just a little bit of time there. But does decide to not check the big key chest, which I think could have potentially had an item there. Oh no, it couldn't. Mirror and big key. So he knew. But yeah, both now doing what the other already did. Shkoople will be done with Eastern a little bit faster, and then can see us, can show us new checks, most likely up on the mountain.
And there are Illus's mitts.
And Illus pot routing being more efficient apparently did close that gap a bit. Not really sure if shkoople really is first one done with both dungeons anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot closer than I expected, even with that ability of shkoople to mirror. Yeah, that extra right side trip is just so much extra time, and Illus is also cashing in on some of the time that he invested before checking the second chest on Eastern, which of course he did not have to do the second time through.
Both heading into the back of their respective dungeons here. Will be interesting. Of course, with now mirror and mitts, shkoople has that option of the Nord Dark World route into Catfish available at any point. So can do that more efficient than Illus if it will come to that. So we will see.
Nice quick kill of Armos on shkoople's side.
Hammer down for Illus. So yeah, both with 4 crystals and a quite nice set of items. Probably heading up the mountain next. Shkoople, starting with the King's Tomb, can route it into Bonk Rocks, a Lumberjack check, and then head up straight the mountain. Unless we will find the flute in one of the next 2 checks. And Illus most likely doing absolutely the same. It really does not make much sense to do anything else right now.
Yeah, there are just so many checks on the mountain. You have a full clearable crystal available at Tower of Hera, and that's the only one on the map right now. So, yeah, it just seems like such an obvious play.
You always can dip into Pendant Swamp without a hookshot and say, okay, Flute is just in there anyway, so why waste my time to do all these other checks? But that is some high risk play there, so I can't imagine either of those to even think about it at this point. Old man giving us some love for his rescue.
$300 on top of Spectacle Rock, more money inside the cave, so nothing exciting just yet.
Just a map here in the basement.
And we'll have to do dev intended strats in Tower of Hera. Tower of Hera. I was about to say the horror of dev intended strats,
Yeah.
including a coffee break.
Yeah, and shkoople immediately bailing, saying, I have entire East Death Mountain to check before. If I can find a hookshot before that, I will rather just do Herapod at that point. And lo and behold, a hookshot over on Floating Island.
That's a pretty funny location for that, but definitely accessible with the mitts in the mirror. So shkoople getting rewarded. We'll get to skip out on this coffee break that Illus is doing right now, as long as there's not a important item in the Hera big chest.
Which can still happen. We still need to find the cane and the flute. And we still do not know about the potential need of the Bombos medallion. So this likely will lose Illus some time, but it can also be that one deciding play if shkoople does decide to leave an item behind in the big chest of Hera.
Yeah, because I think if shkoople gets rewarded by finding that hookshot, there's no way he's gonna do the basement for the big chest. Like, I think once you make that play, you should commit to it.
Well, it depends on how much stuff you have open. If we do not really find anything with the hookshot, unfortunately, we have the entirety of Swamp open, so that's maybe more incentive to leave it behind. But if you were not really where to find much here on the mountain, I can see could see someone still checking it as a safety after everything else turned out to be nothing.
And it was an ether medallion on Turtle Rock, so we could theoretically get in there if we find the cane.
If you wanted to be really, really fancy, you could all just go there in without the cane and just hover. At least the first chest on the left. And if that's your flute in there, locked behind the cane of Samaria. Ooh. I don't think that was intended by Illus. Running into Moldorm and getting bounced back 2 floors. Yeah, second item on Moldorm. Just harpies.
And so, yeah, we missed what was in the big chest, but that item on Moldorm means at least there's a chance that it was still a dungeon item inside there.
It was taken double take there, seeing the hookshot. As we do find the shovel in Paradox Cave. Another fetch quest. Come to think of it, I don't think the runners actually turned in the mushroom so far, did they?
Yeah, we have not seen Mushroom yet.
Shkoople now heading back over to Port, to Hera. Going to finish the dungeon and could potentially think about doing a dip into Spy Cave, although I'm not sure. Shkoople has enough safety currently available. Get there, don't think so. The empty bottle. I've heard there's a strategy to do that with only 11 hearts damage, or get there through with 12 hearts only. But I don't think that would be worth the time currently. At least in Shkoople's mind.
Ooh, and so Compass there at the, I guess that's the vanilla location for it, so there will be an item left behind in the big chest.
I tried to pay attention to this quick swapping to see if we maybe got something important, but really the way that quick swapping works in this cave does not reveal if flute or cane had been found. And even bombos wouldn't be shown really, so...
Moldorm really getting his money's worth today out of his screen time.
Ooh. Staying on there and getting Molten down now. Illus will collect the hookshot, then check hookshot cave and most likely say goodbye to the mountain. Yep, shkoople skipping that big chest. And we shall never know until we find all the items.
So our options at this point are Smith Chain or one of two pendant dungeons, and it looks like Shkoople is opting for the Swamp Palace dip?
It is an interesting question on how to go about this, because you do have the Smith chain, although you can't check the powder, which would enable you to check K45 and the shovel in a kind of nice routing on the way to Swamp. But of course, Swamp itself has up to 7 items with the green pendant.
Yeah, and there's a certain extent to which I think shkoople might be thinking about just following the next breadcrumb, which that hook shot really only opened up the back of Swamp at this point, so...
Logically, it could also open up the right side of Ice Palace, so you really never know until you get in there. But Ice Palace only having 3 items so far. Or the seed is not really as attractive, and Illus did decide to do on Spy Cave, still had that blue goo which he took and just found his second shield, so probably not a trade-off that Illus would have made if he had known. And looks like he's instantly rebuying that potion, but more importantly, turning in that mushroom now. Does not want to head into the pendant dungeons just yet.
Yeah, so this might mean he's going to do all of those overworld checks, and he might do Smith Chain now and pick up the other fetch quest we have on that shovel, as you were mentioning before.
Turning in this mushroom will give us a good discount on our first blue potion, the seed. Nope, looks like Illus is heading back through the portal and maybe into Swamp right now.
Yeah, with the overworld checks, it's always so hard to sort of know when to cut off, right? Because you think, oh, I could go do shovel right now as well because I'm close to it. But then, you know, if you just keep doing one more check, suddenly it's 5 minutes before you actually get into the pendant dungeon that you were on your way to, so...
On the other hand, that pendant dungeon can take up 5 of your minutes on its own, and if the item were just in those overworld checks that you could have done there, could have saved you quite a bit of time, but no cane diver downs, at least for the back today, as we find the cane of Samaria behind, or in the flooded room here. Nice bomb diver down from shkoople. Yeah, that does open up basically most of the bad locations left in this game for the flute to be in. TR now mostly available.
And just to make the decision-making interesting, that makes Ice Palace, of course, easier now with Icebreaker. We can get into that right side very quickly.
Also, it's now completely and fully in logic, no matter what we find regarding key logic in Ice Palace. So yeah, the flute certainly could just be in there. So now that time-old question for shkoople, do you go back into Swamp to check the left side? Or do you leave it behind? I did not fully count items, and shkoople certainly seems not interested in going left side.
So this looks like K45 and the shovel together.
And then maybe doing the Smith chain after, if there's nothing here. Kinda can route your way up there. Illus maybe hesitating thinking about if he wanted to do left side immediately with big key already found and the dungeon item out of the way, but decides against it and will get his cane at least first. With this route shkoople is taken, I wonder if they decide to take this all the way up to the north of the Dark World and get the bumper ledge check and the graveyard ledge check out of the way before saving Quentin with the purple chest here.
Yeah, and we just saw the compass in the waterfall chest there, so it's actually 2 items on the left side of Swamp.
Ooh. Hard to say. With Illus having played safely so far in the seats, I can certainly see him going back in. On the other hand, with Ice, Green Pendant, Turn-In, and Turtle Rock now potentially other open checks and Smith Chain still on large. Hard to say.
Yeah, and this is sort of a nightmare for runners when you get into this full-on single item hunt, whether it's Ice Rod or Flute or whatever, that it could just be anywhere in the world with what you have left. So Illus is going to go back in for these 2 items on the left side of Swamp. shkoople finally going to pick up his 20 rupees off of the sick kid.
We'll never know. That's the sword. Although could maybe imply it with only being on 12 hearts so far, so not every heart key 4 container should be turned around, and if the Sank heart was already found, if you pay attention to that, maybe you could still know that you do not have reached your max on any. But yeah. And yeah, shkoople almost forgetting about bumper ledge, but somewhat in time, still remembering to spot that hard piece up there. Having lost a little bit more time here. But now gets to that one check we haven't seen so far up here. That's graveyard ledge.
Did Illus forget to hit that switch? Or did he go back and... Okay, he got it.
And graveyard ledge not paying off. And shkoople now maybe heading back to that purple chest. Or no, that's the catfish route. So shkoople did decide to leave purple chest somewhat isolated.
Oh, I do sort of like this from shkoople. He can finish up at Catfish and then mirror back into a Whirlpool and head down to Ice Palace. And also going to turn the Mushroom right now.
And Illus not being happy with what he found on the left side of Swamp. Is now doing that shovel turn in. In K45, and we will see if he decides to follow through on that purple chest, or if he decides to head over to graveyard ledge, which Illus has really isolated otherwise.
Yeah, the North Dark World is not as tempting for Illus because he already scouted out Bumper Ledge and has already seen Catfish, so a lot of the secondary checks along the way to Graveyard Ledge are already done for him. And yeah, Shkoople not making that Ice Palace play, so pretty much a sign that he is thinking about Turtle Rock.
We do have Spy Cave open here still, so it's 4 items plus another one. But yeah, it's 4 guaranteed items, potentially 5, and Mimic Cave, so a 6th one. 5 guaranteed items plus potential 6th one. It's not on Trinex versus the 3 in Ice Palace. And the 2 on the left side. And purple chest, so playing the numbers here.
We do also have the green pendant turn-in to think about, but Shkoople not too interested in that. That is a long walk without the flute.
That is certainly true. And Illus is apparently deciding on heading back with that purple chest. Or maybe trying to abuse the hookshot and dash all the way over to Graveyard Edge, take the purple chest with them, and then save and quit. But that could lead Illus to a potential Ice Palace play after the purple chest, instead of a TR play. Or no, just heading straight down, which still could decide on maybe heading into Ice Palace after this. And purple chest, not it.
Oh, Shkoople finding the book in Turtle Rock is going to continue on in the dungeon.
Oh.
That's very interesting, because that book would open up Desert Palace for us, which could theoretically have the flute in there, but...
The thing with that is, it's not only does it open Desert Palace, but it's tablets, and Desert Palace is not just Desert Palace has our second red crystal, so it's actually 6 items behind that book. They are slow to get to, or to get to all of them, but it's 2 in Desert, which is a crystal. It's 2 on those tablets, which we could check one immediately here on the mountain. And it's the 2 of the red bomb, so yeah.
Yeah, and Bombo's tablet you could also do sort of on the way to Desert Palace, so...
It's certainly an interesting decision to make. Of course, if you go back out of TR, you are last locating anything that's in here. But even that would maybe not too much of a problem, as Illus is heading into Ice Palace.
Yeah, that's the thing. We sometimes think about decisions in Rando as gambles or not gambles, but basically every check you choose to make or not make is a gamble of some kind, so Shkoople just betting a different way on this particular one.
I do wonder though, if you are going to find bombos in Mimic Cave here, or maybe in the back chest. Do we say, okay, that's 2 progression items already, potentially? I'm just looking for that flute. And bail then? Or do you commit fully? That's all questions runners have to ask themselves in this kind of situations. And took a laser to the back. That hurts, and I can imagine Shkoople taking that as a nope, I'm out of here sign.
And yeah, we'll start these book checks. He's going to run over to the Ether tablet.
can also route and spy cave this way. While is almost done with clearing Ice Palace and has found nothing so far. Heading over to Ice T. No, he came from there. Just picking up the key here.
Yeah, this way he can open up the refill room downstairs and top off his magic.
And will do just that. Shkoople now taking that way over the Bombos tablet, as you mentioned, over towards Desert Palace. Of course, he could always just head back into to check left side swamp, but I really doubt that. And ooh, that's something Illus didn't want to see.
Yeah, that Ice Rod on Cold Stare is going to really tempt Illus to stay in Turtle Rock after he finds that book, but was a very nice Cold Stare fight. Oh, and Vanilla Bombos for Shkoople.
Okay, now this is getting really spicy.
So Illus is going to loop in the Green Pendant turn-in as well after Ice Palace.
Green Pendant turn is not it, so it looks really, really good here for Shkoople, I'd say.
Yeah, it just comes down to whether the flute is behind this book or deeper in Turtle Rock, and if that Bombos is actually required for... Oh, there's the flute.
And yep. That is go mode for Shkoople, as that Bombos decision was taken off our hands just before this. And yep. Illus is going to pull the pedestal. And will not find. Although Illus could also just say, okay, I can pull pet, but that book just opens desert and the red bomb and such, and we still could have a race here.
Yeah, it will definitely hinge on that decision for Illus. And even if he does bail after book, it's going to take him a little bit of time to catch up to where Shkoople is, so he'll still be giving a couple of minutes to Shkoople for the end of this race. But yeah, really it has come down to this coin flip of which pendant dungeon you felt like checking first. And Shkoople went to Turtle Rock, Illus went to Ice, and Shkoople found the progression.
Yep, on this level, where the runners are so strong, one decision not paying off can make all the difference. And yeah. Which pendant dungeon has the progression in this game that all of us that play Rando have experienced more than enough, so probably not surprising for any of us that this is how it turns out, maybe. And Illus does continue so far.
Yeah, and the thing about decisions like that book are that, we've all had so many seeds where staying in was the right decision and where leaving immediately was the right decision. And Rando just very often doesn't give you any way of making that decision other than just picking one and going with it.
And in this race, shkoople was taken the decisions off or out of his hands, as the laser did snipe him in the back after the bomb was not thrown correctly, so bounced too far off the wall. Did not open it, so yeah. I'd say it's absolutely the right decision to just bail after getting that death, as you had other options available. And it is paying off on spades. Yeah, it's now an active loot for shkoople. We will get information soon if that bombers medallion was even required. And we will head over to collect our final crystal. And it is ether. So yeah, that bombers medallion was nice to see there where it's supposed to be, but we wouldn't have really needed to get it. That book was only meant for us to go into Desert Palace to grab that loot.
Very nice one cycle mire 2 from shkoople.
And it is marching onwards. Here in TR, no reason for him to leave anything here. Does not get magically killed so that he can bail and go to his progression. And won't find anything that will help him here. Has tempered since Bolton, yeah, almost an hour.
Yeah, powder is really the only safety sort of item that we're missing, but it's not that big of a deal. shkoople finds a small key on the left side of mire, which means the big key is guaranteed to be in this cutscene chest.
Illus getting at least a bottle with a fairy, so has something to count for the step further into TR, but with the Bluku still in the pockets, that fairy is a nice safety item, but not a progression Illus wants, so towards Trinix it is the way. And as you said, there's the big key. So now we can head over to Vitreous. We do have Cape, we do have Tempered Sword. It does have a blue potion in reserve, so enough magic to spare to really choose your way of disposing with Vitreous. Can go with damage boosts. Damage boost spins, can with cape spins. Can just spam the sword with cape. Oh, setting up for Spooky here. Or use Spooky. Deciding to not use it on that last torch, instead grabbing that small magic refill to have a little bit more magic to use, maybe with the cape.
And yeah, we'll use the cape and get through these eyeballs very quickly for Shkoople. Yeah, question in chat about the spooky action trick in Misery Mire. Basically, you trick the game into setting a particular variable differently, so that the splash damage from the fire rod hits farther up than it's supposed to, and so you can use that to hit all of the switches in the basement from far away. After that quick Vidi fight from Shkoople, we are now on our way to Ganon's Tower, 7 crystals in hand. So unfortunately, the GT guessing game bot is still broken, but there is a prediction if you would care to make some sort of guess, and feel free to just throw some numbers in chat if you feel like it as well.
Illus checking the Bombos tablet, getting his vanilla item there, and is now heading over to Desert. Will find the flute and be in go mode. But yeah, that's still Desert clear and the Maya clear left to do. That is way too much time to really make up with any sort of GT routing. So unless Shkoople for some reason forgets how to play this game, I can't really see Illus catching up in a meaningful way at this point. We start on the left side with the torch, holding a key, but not the one we seek. Going to check Starforce room. Most likely Shkoople will mirror after if the big key does not turn up. A quick swap mishap. Fire rod is not a hook shot.
I think with his current inventory, those are only one away from each other, so...
Yeah. Now onto the right side. 7 checks, no big key.
Up the small magic there. It's got a little bit low having to do the fire rod torch puzzle.
Nothing here. Just grab that one more small key, which I don't think was really necessary at that point, having 3 already. but decides to play it safe. And now back to the left side towards that chest. Another small key.
Illus will be on his way to activate the flute, but really with the amount of time that Shkoople has ahead of him in Ganon's tower, this is Shkoople's race to lose by a long margin.
Yep, sure is. Third team checks done in GT. Still no big key. Render room. Can deliver today. Shkoople did prepare for a big key turn up with the mirror out, but no such luck. Ice Armors has to be defeated. Or has it?
Could still be Bob's chest.
Or still could be a chest that wouldn't need you to go here at all. Oh, I don't think Shkoople intended to pick up of those. But pulls out the bomb for the backup. Nope. Shkoople can't avoid Ice Armors. So, 3 chests here? Or is it that one chest that if Illus goes there straight up, he could make up a big amount of the time he needs? That will probably not enough, but nope, that's a vanilla big key there.
And that was 19, I believe.
It definitely should be.
Shkoople is a little bit low on health starting this gauntlet climb. We'll see if he thinks about the refill room.
Nope. Confident enough to say shouldn't be too much of a worry here. I mean, with tempered, gauntlet is probably the safest it could be in this mode. Still, you do not want to dash into those beamos. That won't help you. And you do not want to hug Landmo, so Shkoople decides to just drink that blue potion. Shouldn't be really that needed or much needed in the Ganon fight. Yes, we do need to do silverless, but we have both Fire Rod and Lamp, so if you want to get the safe torch glitch and do not want to spend much magic, you have the option to do so. With Tempered, you only need 12 spins. So, I'd imagine with this equipment, most of the runners in this tournament do not really need that safety of a blue potion in that fight.
Yeah, the safeties are really to help speed up the climb and make it safe. It's not really for the Ganon fight with this level of equipment. If we were on Master Sword, then it might be a different story.
Yeah, with Master Sword and especially with... Ooh. Yeah. shkoople getting that room done with the magic he had. Yeah, with Master Sword and especially without half magic, if you have the magic, spare magic to use the cape to speed up that fight, it's certainly something you want to use, and that's would be a reason to save a potion, but with Temper there's really no such necessity. If you are consistent in your 1-1 cycles on the first two phases of Ganon with the Tempered, there's no real need for any magic in those, and then it's just get in the torch glitch and do not get overconfident on the silverless fight. First, Agatu has to be defeated. 6 hits we need to land. Gets a double off the sword. Not the nicest patterns. Agatu really does not want to play nice.
Almost like he's an evil wizard or something.
Four cycle is okay. 2-1-1-2. You take it. And now that one last fight. Misses a trident spin, so no 1 cycle in the first phase, but gets that 2 cycle and not a good position for 1 cycle in this phase. Maybe just taking the save 2 cycle here. Not sure, haven't counted.
Yeah, about the only way to 1 cycle that phase 2 was going to be with dash strats from inside the circle, but those are very difficult.
That is through to the first 2 phases, and now 4 more hits for phase 3, 2 of them already done. Here's to hope that Ganon does not teleport much more than this. Yeah. Goes for the early spin. Oh, misses. But save torch glitch. And now 12 spins, 10 of those left. Goes for triple.
And getting another nice triple in there to finish off Ganon. Get those GGs in chat, as shkoople will win this race.
Just that final bridge to cross. And then shkoople finishes the seed in first place with an official racetime.gg time of 1 hour 37 minutes and 38 seconds. GG. So there will be a game 3 for those two. Yeah.
Yeah, I do not know if that's on the schedule yet or not.
What is he? Let's see if shkoople does want to join us for an interview. Yeah, we have shkoople here with us now for an interview. GG's.
Hey, thank you. GG to Illus as well.
Yeah, it was a seed that was somewhat linear in the beginning, or somewhat obvious to where to go to, and then in the end, the ages-old which pendant dungeon to the forgo mode. So, how did you feel about the seed and your routing decisions?
I feel like everything was good, and then I lost my mind in pod and TR. And after I died in TR, I don't know. I left, I felt so bad. And then got super bailed out by that flute. Well, I was planning on clearing to Laser Bridge, but I didn't want to devote the time again. But I don't know. I felt like everything kind of lined up in the beginning, and then I've had a really strong feeling Kane would be in Swamp, and then I was gonna go back. I was gonna go to TR with the Kane, and never had an intention to do Ice, which apparently turns out was the right decision.
Yeah, that was the big difference, was just Illus going to ice first, because you both did some overworld checks before actually dipping into the pendant dungeons.
Yeah, I felt bad about that Dark World loop I did after Swamp, but I figured I had to clean that stuff up before diving into TR.
Yes. That really did not cost you much time, if at all. Maybe except with Mayfield Edge, that route up there, which Illus decided to skip in the end, but Illus did also do that cleanup of at least the Smith chain after Swamp, and Illus overall in the seat was more throughout in his decisions. Did decide to check more stuff earlier or complete Swamp entirety, so go back for 2 items on the left side, which in the end led to that little difference of you getting to that overworld trip first. But yeah, after that, Illus decided to drip Ice Palace, which basically was that big turning point.
Yeah, it's not a bad decision. Another day it works out. I don't know. I didn't really feel that great after all the bad execution mistakes I was having at the time, and so I needed to skip something. I felt like.
Yeah, I sort of thought you were thinking about ice just mirroring from Catfish and then swimming down to it, but were you sort of in the mode of just following the next item of progression, like following Hookshot into Swamp and then following Kane into TR?
Yeah, that was where my mind was at. Definitely following the hook shot to back of Swamp. I never really intended to do left side. I was just hoping I'd get something in the back. I think if I got nothing in the back, I would have done left side. But after that, I was like, well, I got to use this cane and hope that it leads to something.
Certainly a reasonable decision, and yeah, overall the skips that you decided to make made sense. Skipping the big chest of Hera, which could have burned you, but didn't.
I hate the basement.
Yeah, I mean, even that play to just not decide to do it at first and instead check in East Dead Mountain first was a really good decision in this race. Because I just mentioned you have the potential of just finding hookshot on the right side before you left, and yeah, you found it immediately. So decision made and immediately paid out in that case.
Right. Yeah, I felt good about that, and I was also worried that this would end up being a hover or bounce seed, and that was pretty scary because I think Illus can do both.
I know for sure at least Illus can hover, even if he does not really want to do it. But yeah. It was certainly an option, and with that mirror turning up first before the hookshot, it's always something that can just happen. That hookshot could have not locked the cane, maybe, no, or could have just the other way around. The cane on the left side and the hookshot in TR deeper. Something like that.
We had another series where it was looking like a hover seed, but hookshot was just in TR, which was a nice bailout for me.
And as if to prove your point or your worries, Illus demonstrate that he actually can hover. So yeah. But yeah, now there will be a game 3. How do you feel about your chances now?
I mean, this is the only win I've taken off of Illus. So not like super confident, but at least I know I can win now.
I mean, so far this week, all the game 3s I've seen have been really exciting and really good races. So I think anything can happen, really.
Yeah, it's rando. It just one decision can make a 10-minute difference, and you just gotta hope you roll the dice in your favor and play a little bit better than I did today. Hopefully, I was pretty embarrassed of Bod.
Yeah, we had just mentioned that going back to Helma right away was not a good decision in this particular spot because of the small key situation. And then, yeah, that spending the key on the Dark Maze just did not work out well. But, you know, nobody's perfect.
Yeah, and then I was very confused when I had 2 keys. If there was an item in the vanilla big key chest, I don't know. I just lost my mind in that dungeon.
Vanilla Big Chest could not have had an item at that point, as you got Big Key and the mirror on the right side already in the front, so that one was a small key guaranteed. But it's certainly not something you are always thinking about in this kind of race situation.
Yeah.
As we see Illus on the Ganon fight now, getting the nice one-on-one there into phase 3.
Apparently, yep, missed the early spin too. And apparently, Illus did pick up half magic somewhere.
I believe that was just an extra check in the room behind Ice Armos.
Okay. Half magic, nice to have, but with tempered, not really that needed. Very, very solid fight from Illus here. Yeah, one last bridge to cross for Illus, and then Illus will finish in second place with an official time of 1 hour 47 minutes and 51 seconds. And Illus did join us here for an interview too, so GG's Illus.
GG.
Yeah, like we said to shkoople, early the seed kinda was telling you where to go with some obvious progression, and in the end it came down to which pendant to dip. How did you feel about your way through the seed?
I didn't really feel bad about it. Like I routed in every check that I could pretty efficiently. Decision making was kind of hard. Like, do you do left side swamp for the 2 items? Do you do smith chain? Will you go to ice palace? Will you go to turtle rock? Like, all of those decisions were, yeah, kind of equal, I would say. I thought since Kane was kind of deep in logic, that maybe it was one of the checks that I did after Swamp Palace, that maybe those had the flute. Unfortunately, they didn't, and it was like a pretty mean chain with a pretty deep progression, or like you had to go pretty deep in spheres, and that was something I did not expect. I hoped it would be like some kind of really trash seed in which you had to pull pedestal for the flute, but yeah, you didn't.
Yeah, that pedestal, if it would have had the flute, would have really worked out in your favor, as shkoople unfortunately died in TR, not getting out towards the Movie Cave big chest exit, instead getting sniped by laser after missing that bomb, and decided to bail after that. So also did not really dip Ice Palace at that point, instead went straight to TR. So yeah, if pedestal were to be required, deal with the Ice Rod on course, they would have been in a really good position. But
Yeah, I hoped it would be a really mean seed, but it was only a kind of mean seed.
Yeah, and of course that ice rod meant that it was going to be really hard for you to dip out of Turtle Rock after finding the book. So
I don't think dipping out of Turtle Rock after finding the book was a really good decision to make. Because yes, you could clear your crystal dungeon, but the book itself only unlocked like 3 to 4 other checks, and the chances were really high, especially in my position, that you had to just come back to Turtle Rock and do the rest of the checks for the flute. So I was pretty annoyed at finding the book in there, but I think going further in Turtle Rock was the right choice.
I definitely agree. I felt so bad with how I was playing at the time that I felt like I needed to make a play.
Yeah, makes sense if you have a death. Like I'm not blaming you for this.
No. I'm just again saying my reasoning because it isn't a good play. You're definitely right.
I mean, with the book, it technically was 6 items, with the red bomb also behind Desert Palace.
That's true. That's true.
So it's not maybe as bad as a decision it could have been, but still I can see the reason to just say, yeah, getting all those 6 items out of the book does take quite a bit of time, as they are not grouped together, and
yeah, like
going at least to Laser Bridge.
Going further through Turtle Rock was more time efficient.
Yeah, but yeah, for the most part, otherwise you did pretty much the same things in the same order, with one maybe not so unimportant difference as shkoople. You started immediately in Village of Outcast. Illus decided to do Hype Cave first, and then what's the important thing was check Thicket before heading to Skullwoods. That meant a sword difference in the moth fight.
Wait, he had a sword?
Yeah.
Thicket had a sword.
Oh, that's right. I got Stumpy, right, and the one-off moth. So I didn't ever know that was there.
Like with Master Sword, it was a pretty clean fight, so I was happy finding that as a kid.
it was the one maybe noticeable difference for the first hour of the race, I'd say. Otherwise, everything else kind of cancelled out itself.
Yeah, I think if you don't have a flute, routing is kind of a challenge, and I like it in a sense. So I was kind of like I think it was kind of fun despite the potential huge variance in the pendant dungeon dips and the huge uncertainties of finding your flute. I thought it was pretty fun routing this seed, and yeah, I kind of enjoyed it. By the way, I had a collection rate of 173. But it was fun. It was fun to play, I would say. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for me this time. But I've won most of our matches, so I'm gonna stay confident.
As you
And
should.
you have all the reason to do so. Your game 3, do you have already planned it, scheduled it, or does that still...
Yeah, it's tomorrow, same time.
Okay, so yeah, we will be excited to see what will happen. As we've seen, it's anything can. So yeah, hopefully you both can play to your best of your abilities tomorrow as well, and maybe get actually some bombs for escape.
That would
Bomb
be
start would be nice.
maybe bombs in Link's house is better.
What about both?
Well, that's just a waste.
Isn't that how Rando always works? If you got bombs in Link's house, then Uncle will for sure give you the 10.
Or if you farm bomb south of Grove, you find the 10 in the back of the tavern.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that has never happened before. Kappa. Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it goes sometimes. You gotta live with it. But yeah, I really like bomb start because you like once you've kind of practiced it, it's usually fine. It's a bit slower than other escapes, and you never have to farm bombs. So I would really prefer to have that.
But we'll definitely be looking forward to that game 3. It should be a good one, so make sure everybody out there tunes in tomorrow at the same time for that one. And GG's to both of you again.
Thank you.
Thank you for the restream.
Yep. GG shkoople. You got your win.
I did. That's all I needed.
after yesterday. But yeah, thanks for commentating, tracking, restreaming as well for me. Maybe you guys can restream our match next time. We'll see. It's always a scheduling issue and development issue, right? And yeah, I hope for the best.
So I think that will do it for us. Thanks again to our tracker, Daruk. And of course, be sure to give these runners a follow. They're excellent runners and putting out great content on Twitch. So be sure to head over to their particular channels and follow them as well. And thank you all for joining us for this race today. Rowan, any final thoughts on this one?
Not really. I think you said pretty much anything necessary. Just thanks, Cool Popable. That anyway was really fun to commentate this race with you, and yeah, I hope we will see much more exciting races in this tournament. I'm just looking for the schedule. Where do we have upcoming matches?
I believe the next one is about in an hour or so. I forget who was on that one, but it's a 5:10 start.
Magnet Hands versus Penny Royal Oil over here on this channel, SpeedGaming 2, will happen there. It is a game 3, so one runner will be making brackets, one will be out of this tournament, and much more rando to come at 6-10, 7-10, and 8-10, and looking at the names that are in there, Aussie, Furami, Kern. So there are many, many more great races to come today, so just tune into all of those if you want. You will certainly get to see some exciting races, but I tend to ramble on longer if you don't stop me, so take us out of here.
Absolutely. Once again, I've been Cool Papa Bell 2282 alongside me, Roland Tank here. Thank you all for watching once again, and we'll see you back here next time.